Hello and welcome back to the Courtroom Advocate channel. My name is Miriam Shira. This week I've been reflecting on the Moi girls case. I don't know whether you have had a chance to see what was happening, but recently a girl from Moi girls was convicted for manslaughter after she set her dorm on fire. When I looked at the case and when I listened and I saw the commentary on the case, it was clear that the girl had made it very clear to her parents that she did not want to be in the school. She made it clear to her parents, to the teachers, to her fellow students, to her friends, and she had a cry that she really wanted to leave the school. But we ignored, the whole community ignored her cry and what she wanted in her life. That got me thinking, or it reminded me of an experience I had as I was growing up. And it made me think I am lucky to have had parents who listened, because if they did not, maybe I would have ended up in a disaster. So, well, in class 4, that is grade 4 now, we moved houses from one estate to another. So in the estate that we previously lived in, I would walk to school. It was about 5 minutes walk to school, which was very near. There was no commute and all that. But then we moved estates. We moved to another estate, which meant that now I had to use matatus or the public transport to get to school. It became quite a long commute to school. I had to wake up earlier. I had to, hustle for the public transport and so on. So when I was using the public transport, I experienced something that made me want to move schools. So I would use a single matatu from where we lived then to the school. But what happened is that it was that time when people would stand in matatus. And if you can remember, we used to be, you get into a matatu, and especially if you're a child, you'll actually be squeezed in between the seats, between adults. So you stand in between the seats, and sometimes you'll even stand in the middle with the adults. I experienced some abuse then, where some adults would rub themselves against me when we are standing in those matatus. One of them remains very clear in my mind. I felt like the guy who was behind me was actually lifting my skirt. I could feel his private parts rubbing against me. I courageously asked one of my friends, can I move? And I quickly moved. But you can imagine in the squeezed matatu, everybody's like, why, young girl, why are you moving? Why are you stepping on us? But for me, I was actually running away from this person. That was one of the incidences. But I also saw that during also that time, some of the conductors developed some interest in me. Remember, this is class 4, so I was about 10, 11, thereabout. So what would happen, sometimes I would actually, they would not take my fare. It was that time where the word then was sari, I would get in, and the conductor at the door would tell the conductor who is speaking the money, sari or dame. And with time, of course, sare, it means ukisare, there must be something coming. So they also started making moves on me, the conductors. And I remember one day one of them would refuse a light at my usual alighting point, and he wanted to take me I don't know where. So when he passed my my stop and he refused, I actually made noise in the matatu, and luckily enough the adults who were in that matatus were reasonable enough to quarrel him, and they made sure that I lighted in the next stage. That meant actually I had a longer commute because I've already missed my stop. I had a longer commute back to back home from there. There was quite a lot, and it was just not me. We were about, if I remember well, maybe 6 or 7 kids that used to use that route, and the other girls were also experiencing the same. And it got to a point where actually we knew the matatus that would not get into, it would come and would go hiding. Because, of course, sometimes they would even force us in, where you come in, why are you standing there? You know where you're going, it's your time to go home. So we realized that those that really harassed us, so would actually see it coming and would run away from the bus stop But also, you know, it went on, and I could tell the danger in it. I was young, but I could tell what was happening was wrong, and the other children also got really afraid of it and would talk about it, you know, sometimes in, you know, giggly, oh, you know, that guy likes you and all that. But we are very young. You can imagine at that age some adults who are harassing you. It got to a point I got very uncomfortable, and I remember I started missing school. I would give excuses why I don't want to go to school, but I was just afraid of these adults, you know, these people who are harassing me. Even the drivers. I remember one day I sat, you know, in the front seat, and it was really bad. It was a bad experience also. So um, I started missing school, and then I told my parents I really want to move schools. And I think in my mind I knew if I said I just want to move schools, I might not get it. So I insisted I want to go to a boarding school. Honestly, I didn't know anything about boarding school, but I thought it would be my saving grace for me to go to a boarding school. So I went and told my mom I really want to go to boarding school, and I started nagging I want to go to boarding school. Luckily enough, my mom was for the idea, and they quickly looked for a school, and I moved to a boarding school. And with that, they saved me an agony. I admit I never told them why I wanted to go to boarding school. I can't remember whether they asked, but I do remember for me that was the reason why I wanted to go to boarding school. I'm lucky because they listened, because I think if they did not listen and they had insisted that I stay in that commute, I stay in that school, I would have been abused, you know, it could have gone very far. Of course, there was the kind of assault, you know, the touching and all that, but it never got that bad. But that day when that conductor refused me to alight, told me things can get really bad. So it's that story came back to me when I saw the Moi girl story. This was a girl who had the girl was recently convicted for manslaughter after she burnt the school where she was, and in the process 10 girls died. The court found her guilty for manslaughter because they say she did not have malice aforethought. She did not want to kill. For her, she just wanted attention. She just needed to get out of this school, and she had made it very clear to her parents, to her teachers, that she really doesn't like the school, and she want to get out. When you look even at the history, she joined that school late because it's a parent who looked for it, and it took the intervention of some ministry officials for her to join. So really, for me, I think she had not even qualified to be in that school, and it's something most parents nowadays do. You think a school is really good, and you push your children there without consultation. So for me, the lesson for today is, how much do you listen to your child? How much does your child participate in decisions that affect them? I know in the African culture we say the children do not have a voice, or, you know, I'm the one paying school fees, I'm the one to decide. But remember, that child may be going through something, and that's why they are asking for what they are asking for. So it's good at every stage when you're making decisions, kindly involve your children. Listen to them, and listen to them deeply. When a child all of a sudden stop wanting to go to school, you know, all of a sudden develop an attitude towards school, ask questions, ask deep questions, ask what has changed, you know, why don't you want to go to school? When a child all of a sudden is missing like so many days of school, there must be a reason. As parents, I know we are busy parents and all, but we need to listen to our children. We need to reason also. Reason with your children. Reason out with them. Even when you're moving estate, when you're moving houses, let your children know early in advance. They might not influence the decision in a big way, but they also need to psychologically prepare that they're going to lose friends where they are. They need to start preparing that they need to go start making friends and so on. So let's listen to our children. They do not have to make the decision, but it is good for them to feel heard, and we take in consideration their feelings, we take into consideration their opinions, because they matter, and it's also their life. We could avert a disaster by just listening, by being very intentional parents. Thanks for listening. Look out for the next video.